I'm Bill.
And I'm Candace.
And we're the
Disruptors. Well, you finally got that one right. It only took about 100 takes.
Well, that's true.
I was practicing. It's the same every week.
No, it isn't.
Yeah,
we don't say our names and the Disruptors every week?
No. I'm going to change the whole thing. I decided after 93 shows, it's time we upgrade.
There goes your paycheck.
There we go.
It was gone anyway. We have a great guest back.
We do.
Yes.
We actually... Hey, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Chris.
Again.
That was a
Why
great
is it
segue.
that I am always the last one to be taken care of on this show?
I have waited for you to ask that question
you know
for
what?
92 shows.
Did you want to be included in the Disruptors part?
No, because I would probably mess that up, and I know I would mess that up, so I'm going to leave that one alone.
So
Bill
are
is
you
bad
just
enough.
Bill's sidekick, or what?
No, I'm your sidekick.
Oh, okay.
Where did it say Gil talks
That's
about
it.
Candace's
Okay, we haven't introduced our very special guest.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
But
I'm here.
I am excited to welcome Gil Quante of Q Connections to the show. Welcome back, Gil.
Woo, thank you.
Give it up
Thank you very
for
much. It's
Gil.
always fun to come here and watch the camaraderie build up and the passion and love amongst the three of you now. It's exciting.
It's exciting, yeah. It used to be just two, but Candace got boring, so we drug in another one.
Well, you were promoted to human, I heard.
Well, I was. I stepped up. I didn't know that when I got here this afternoon. So thank you, Candace.
Well, it's just because you can't.
It's a nice upgrade.
Well, you stopped dragging your knuckles, so I figured that we had to do something else.
That's very nice. Now that you've really done an outstanding job introducing the special guest, and you've introduced our producer over here who produces whatever. It's great to have you here, Candace.
Well, and the reason why we had Gil come back to the show is because why?
How could we do this to him?
Because you asked.
No. We wanted
Penance.
Gil back here because he knows so much about networking. And he's such a wealth of information. So before you even get to speak, I want to thank you for really educating and bringing understanding on what makes a good networker. Because in business, it's all about relationships.
Relationships, that's the key.
That's it.
Yeah, I've been in BNI, Business Networking International, I'm going on my third year.
Wow,
I'm
awesome.
renewing. I talking my company into renewing us for 2 years for substantial savings.
That's right, for substantial.
Substantial
Do you do what but lock out the competition?
Cha-ching. So, but the key I've learned through all those years of being in there, and through Dr. Meisner's reading some podcasts and hearing and experience, is relationships as the number one thing in order to give referrals.
You bet.
And your heart has to be, how can I give referrals for you to actually start receiving referrals and to be a success at your business?
You mean to tell me that you don't go to network to sell stuff to people?
No, that's my... I've heard this quote before. Any networking group is a potential sales team, not a potential customer.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That's
I like
powerful.
that.
Yeah, very much.
That's the attitude you have to have walking in. And if you catch yourself starting to do a sales pitch, you need to stop and go, well, who am I meeting here? Who is this person? And learn about them. The more you learn about them, the more you'll remember. So one of the keys I do in BNI uses the term one-to-one, which is basically a sit-down meeting with one person, is to remember I'm there to learn about them. And there's times I'll spend a whole hour learning about them because it's just fantastic. And you get referrals, you get business because you trust a business.
Absolutely.
And you give referrals, and you like that business. And you give and give referrals to people that you trust. I trust Bill Lee's going to operate that microphone like a champion. I trust that Candace is going to help coach somebody to great success and have a super podcast because I've gotten to know her and have that friendship.
You bet.
So when you're doing your networking, you're looking to see if you can find somebody that you like and trust. And the only way you're going to do that is to learn about them first. I go to a second one-to-one. I try and schedule those 4 to 6 weeks out. They tend to be 8 to 12 weeks out because you get busy.
Sure.
But the second one-to-one is you already like the person. You've seen them several times at meetings. and you're talking about the specifics of their business, because now it means something to you. I want to know everything that Candace does with the Wild Child Group, and what does the Disruptors do. So I'm listening attentively because I like this person now. If you do that at the beginning, where you're just talking about your business, it's like watching a commercial on TV. Is it Geico? Is it
Liberty,
State
Farm,
Is
yeah.
it, good hands over your back slapping somebody? You don't know what it is. But if you're listening attentively because you've done that and you've developed that friendship, it sticks with you. So when I'm having a conversation with Chris and he's going, yeah, I've got this great new business and I'm excited about it, and I go, wow, that sounds really great. I got somebody you should talk to kind of give you some guidelines and get you going in the right direction. And she's wonderful, and she'll talk to you and not charge you for the first 5 minutes. It's the second 5 minutes that might cost you something. So those are really great things. And then the last thing I like to do is, when I've got that relationship strong, then it's time to go to work as a team. And I've got to admit, I don't do this with a lot of people yet, because it's just having that. And what I do is I say, Candace, come, let's have a meeting. Bring your contacts. I'm going to bring mine. And let's glean out 3 people from you that would be great contacts for me, and 3 from me that would be good contacts for you, and talk about how we can talk about each other's businesses to those. So we're actually doing work. We're sitting down there with a task to complete, because we already have that trust. We already have the relationship. We have the visibility. She knows I'm still going to these things. I'm still trustworthy. And we have that reputation of friendship. Mm-hmm. So now, and I understand her business enough that she can say, Joe Architect over here would be a great person, because this is what's happened since I talked to you last week. I've ran into this kind of situation, and I've discovered this is a great fit. Do you think you can get me an introduction there? And we walk away maybe with one solid introduction for each person. But you bring your whole list and you just start going through it. Oh, yeah, zoology, probably not a good fit for me. Makeup, I'm not wearing it much.
Kind of, yeah.
Shocking. Bill's wearing it for you.
No, she is.
Very well done.
And
See, zoology would work for us. We have Bill.
well, yes, that's kind of zoology.
Yeah, it's kind of rings.
What's the word? Anthropomorph?
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Oh,
Pick on Bill Day.
It is, and that's why we have such a great relationship.
That's
Bill.
true, yeah.
We've had at least one-to-one.
One, oh, yes, we have. Yes, we have.
We discovered we didn't like each other.
Yeah,
right.
But the referrals are really consistent with that relationship. But that's what going to a networking group's all about, is come in, sit down, and see who you can. There's 100 people in a room. You're not going to connect with every one of them.
No.
Find out the ones that you immediately gravitate to, and then set up a one-to-one with them if you get that feel back.
Do you ever go through the list of individuals, let's say, that are, consistently attend a specific networking group? Do you systematically go through that list and then strategically pick out, okay, I want a relationship, or I want to start the conversation, that first one-to-one with these 3 people? Or do you just randomly, whoever you meet?
That'd be a lot smarter effort
Yeah.
than I do. I like to, with our B&I group, it has 30-something people in it.
Sure.
And I like to make sure I'm having a one-to-one with the new people within the first 8 weeks.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And after that, I do systematic. I try and hit the older people, because life changes.
Yes.
And they have new things. They're doing new things. Technology changes. So companies could be doing stuff, and you find out who they are. The larger networking groups like Ignite You, that has 100 and something people in it, you pretty much kind of got to see who's there consistently first to see if you want to bother your time. But for me, because I don't know, I have this weird habit of wanting to build, encourage, and strengthen.
You bet.
I'll meet with
Very
anybody
weird.
that asks me. But I mentioned this in my first podcast with you, but I have an upfront contract. So Chris says, Gil, hey, and I know Chris is selling candles and he wants me to sell candles and he's excited. He goes, hey, I'd like to have a one-to-one with you. And I'll go, hey, Chris, that's great. Let's set up a time, and we do that. And I go, Chris, before we leave, let's agree on one thing. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, Chris. Let's agree that in that hour, you're going to spend a half hour talking about you and your business. And then after your half hour, I'll talk about my business and myself. Is that okay with you?
That works.
That works. And then when you get to that meeting, before it happens, I like to text or email and say, hey, we're having our one-to-one. Is that still good? Yeah. Okay, do you remember our promise to split the time? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. And if you get to that meeting, sometimes you got a sales bully. And you sit there for an hour getting a sales pitch. That's okay. Don't be mad at the guy. He's just untrained.
Right.
You thank him after an hour. Hey, that's all the time I had. Maybe next time I'll get to talk. Thanks for the opportunity. Okay, well, we'll reschedule again. I said, yeah, let's do that later. And that opportunity never comes up for a reschedule. Because life is short. You only have so much time, and I only want one sales pitch. But if I sit down with Chris and he's telling me about his business and I go, oh, that's great, you should talk to this person, or you might be able to do something with this. Have you thought about doing that? And it's just building them, encouraging them, and getting them to a place where they can be coached to not do a sales. That is wonderful. I go through the day not getting a referral, doing that with 3 or 4 people. It's just feels so good to help guide people to become successful. And I met a young lady this week. She does a blog. She does a baking blog, and she's a videographer. And we had a great time talking about different aspects of video and some approaches she should do, and coming up with ideas she's going to call the video business and things like that. And I'm no marketing genius, but it was fun to bounce those things off her and watch her react and not throw me out the door. It's a public restaurant.
I like those types of conversations.
Yeah, they're so much fun. Like you say, you love dreamers.
Yep, I do. I do love dreamers.
Somebody wake up Bill. He's starting to dream.
Yeah. Of his pillow.
Bill's dreams are nightmares. We don't go into those.
But I think, Gil, you're absolutely right. So the very first meeting is I want to know you want to know me, so that we can know, like, and trust you, we can develop that.
Know, like, and trust. That's good words.
And then the second one is, okay, the focus of that meeting should be on the business, because you now are willing to move forward because you know, like, and trust them. So now you want to know, like, and trust their business and what makes them do what they do and why do they do what they do.
Yeah.
And then if you move it forward, then the third one would be to actually roll up our sleeves, do some work, and let's see who out of my resources, out of my people, my connections, can I help to connect with you to help you. Likewise, it's symbiotic. So
it is, and it's surprising. You could be selling ice cream bars, and I'm selling internet marketing sites, but the people we know will be connections. Directly, we might not do business together,
right?
But the people we know there's a gold mine out there. So don't prejudice yourself against somebody selling essential oils because, I don't use essential oils. Well, but you might have contacts that are just really important. And
you bet.
That you could share and find out what that is, and that's discovering that.
I think that's been one of the more painful, painful pieces in when you're out there networking, to show up at a meeting and having the sales bully corner you, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is happening here?
I think we got a new term, sales bully.
Yeah, I think we got to market that. Yeah,
I think so, because
actually
that was really yummy.
Boy.
But nobody wants to be sold to, and I would much rather develop the relationship long before the product.
Yeah. One cool thing to think about is some of these networking groups, you get opportunities to do a commercial for yourself.
Yes.
Some of them are 35 seconds. Well, that's